let people come in. Like I'm probably start at like 9 o'clock on the dot, maybe 9:01.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let people. It was a couple minutes there. I'm gonna let people join in.
Yeah, I got you. I think I got 3 trivia questions for you. I didn't have the ones I had before, but I did with them. But I threw some down together for you.
Copy that. I'm gonna see what I can do with them at the end. Can't wait. Oh, 36 people already. 24 people already. Welcome in. Let's go. We're about to start shortly. 28 people. 29. I love it. Got Papa Murph. It's a big deal. Papa Murph. I'm gonna give you a formal applause when we get started. Don't worry.
I get to watch myself twice. It's beautiful. Yeah, I was supposed to be out of town this weekend, man, for my anniversary, but I got sick and the wife got sick, so I'm just staying home.
Well, I'm just thanking God in advance for the healing, brother. Yeah, happy anniversary.
I appreciate it, brother. 12 years, man. 12 years.
That's awesome. My mom and my stepfather, 12 years. 13. 13, yeah. Awesome. It's a beautiful thing, man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We rescheduled our trip till January. Let us heal up, and we'll go to New Year's right after our birthday.
Copy that. See, Go Vols joined the stream. I want to apologize to you. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it. So don't leave. All right. So
I'm discriminating.
All right, brother. I'm about to start this theme music. Let's go. Hey. 2, 3. Let's go. Yeah. Yes, sir. Welcome. 77 people. Let's go. 80. Let's go. All right. All right. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to episode 5 of Will Call, ladies and gentlemen. Got a very special guest tonight. You know, he's the most consistent follower I have. He does every duet at the 180 plus sports trivia episodes. He's the uncle, one of the greatest out here. We got the American flag representing our country well as always. Would you guys give it up for Papa Murph? Let's go. Let's send you applause, brother. Yes, sir. Come on. DJ Shoe. Let's see. Yes, sir. That's a standing ovation. That's a standing ovation. There you go. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yeah, we just want to say, before I start, I just want to tell you I appreciate everything that you do for the brand, brother. It's been a beautiful journey, and I can't wait for more. But I know you've been telling me, like, you know, want to talk about your Dallas sports, man. But first and foremost, I want to talk about this epic college football weekend. So, what are your thoughts about Georgia and Tennessee? I thought Georgia made a heck of a statement this afternoon. Like I told you before the stream, I knew Georgia. I had a feeling Georgia was going to win a close one by 4, but I didn't think it was going to be as convincing as it was, despite how dominant they've been all year. But what are your thoughts about that game?
I'm with you, man. I thought it was going to be a toss-up. I thought the way Tennessee was playing this year, this might be the year they, run the table. But it's the SEC, man. It's unpredictable. I mean, everybody thinks they're the greatest conference for a reason, but you never know what's going to happen on any given Saturday in college football.
Yeah, just like I said, I think this was I'm not sure what's in store for the Volunteers moving forward in November, but this looks like that's probably the greatest Vols team I've seen in my lifetime. I know they were really good in the mid 2000s. You know, they beat my Tigers in 05 in Death Valley. We barely beat them at Neyland Stadium in 06, and we beat them in a close one in a 2007 championship for the SEC. So, but it's been a while since they've been rocking like this. I know, it's a tough loss for them, but I know Georgia's just the standard right now. They should have been number one going into the college football playoff, but it's going to be undisputed with that. You know, speaking of my Tigers, Alabama just went up 15-14. So it was a rushing touchdown. Rodell Williams 2 yards for the touchdown. So it's going to be assuming they make the extra points, it's going to be 16-14 with 12.5 left in the game. You know, this is another. It's a hi from Georgia. Look, I know you're happy. Cajun Girl 38. Welcome. I know you're happy. But yeah, Alabama just been watching this Alabama LSU game. The shot roll tide.
No. Alabama's not rolling nothing this year, man. They beat by Texas with a backup quarterback. They're a point up on LSU right now. They're not. This ain't convincing Alabama wins. Like if they go 12-1 and win the SEC, got it. They're going to go to the playoffs. But if they lose to Georgia, you can't put them in the CFP, man. Not at 10-2. Not at 10-2 with a loss in the playoffs. You can't do it.
Cajun Girl said I was born and raised in Louisiana, so I know LSU by being in Georgia for 12 years now. You are what you become. Your environment is this. I think she became the environment. Nope. Oh wow, you related to Bobby Aber of the Saints. Oh my gosh, he's a cousin of mine. That's awesome. That's crazy. Wow. That was before my time. I was fortunate enough to see the peak of the franchise. I've been blessed to see that. But I know like a lot of passionate players, passionate fans for years. That's awesome. That's awesome. But would say Alabama not rolling. What's so funny? So I'm doing one for yourself. But it's not a vintage Alabama team by any stretch. I know it's tough to keep out Nick Saban though. You got to fight to the end.
But the question is are we keeping in Alabama just because it's Alabama, or are we keeping Alabama in 2022 because they're doing something worth being ranked 5th or 6th in the nation?
Yeah,
they got a loss. They got a loss to Tennessee, who now lost to Georgia, which Alabama will obviously jump Tennessee in the rankings. But you got teams like undefeated Clemson, undefeated TCU. Clemson probably not much anymore, but TCU's won 4 ranked games in a row. But then they look at it like, oh, well, it's not the SEC. Well, they're still ranked. You still got to rate the quad. Like, how are you not putting them above Alabama being undefeated? Now they're 9-0.
We're gonna see. Look, we're gonna see in a couple of days. Just TCU's been impressive, but it's gonna be a really shaking up because we were just talking about Clemson getting dominated, man. They've been shaky for the last month or so, but just like Notre Dame, but just a quick note on the Irish. They've shown it's 28-0. Goodness gracious. With 12,
I was just pulling it up, man.
Gosh, but just because the quarterback, BJ, I think I forgot his first name, but just got benched last week. It's been ugly for them.
Texas is up on Kansas by 10.
Yep.
Yes, sir. I don't know, man. I think it's too late for Texas.
Oh yeah, they gave it up early in the season. Michigan's up. They were struggling with Rutgers early, but they done pulled away 35-17 with the ball.
I don't think Ohio State did that well either, man. I think they won, but I don't think they won.
So there was a 40-mile-per-hour wind. A 40-mile-per-hour wind. I was like, because for that reason, it's going to be a straight running game, a 40-mile-per-hour wind. So it's, I knew it was going to be, for that reason, I feel like it's going to be closer than many people expected, but I feel like they had the talent enough to pull away, which they did. Not necessarily by score, but just by just the dynamic of the game. But yeah, they struggled as well.
So what you're seeing right now, college football playoffs, obviously only 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State and Michigan both can't go undefeated. Somebody's got to lose. They play each other.
Mm-hmm.
So what you thinking for the CFP? Who's going to be your 4 teams?
Man, it's like I was pretty skeptical of Michigan early on because the schedule. I mean, they were like Blake Corum's been unbelievable this year. If you keep giving him the rock, they're going to be fine. But they've been impressive the last couple of weeks. I feel like I give Ohio State the edge still. I feel like it's going to be Georgia, Ohio State, no longer Clemson. Clemson's been rough the last couple of weeks. If the Tigers can hold on with this game, that's going to be massive. But just if they could come back and win, I think they might have gotten a turnover. But yeah, just, I think they got a turnover. I think LSU got the ball. But either way, just if they could come back and win, that would be huge for their resume.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you have it so far?
I mean,
and probably TCU's probably going 4 seed right now. Yeah.
They got to go 4 seed. Like if they go undefeated.
Yeah, they got to be in there.
Texas, if they go undefeated, that means Texas will beat Kansas State, and they beat Texas. That's 5 ranked teams out of 12 games. That's a ranked opponent basically every other week. I got Ohio State going. I think they're going to beat Michigan. I think Georgia's going to go. I think TCU's going to go. I don't know who's going to be 4. I thought it was going to be Clemson tonight.
Like you said, Tennessee still has a strong chance, but they need Tennessee's going to need some help from Georgia. Georgia might have to be uncharacteristic because they have the tiebreaker now. So, but yeah, they're going to need some help.
I think the only way I can see Tennessee going is if Georgia wallops Alabama in the SEC championship game, and then you have Georgia undefeated, Ohio State undefeated, TCU undefeated. And then you got 11-1 Tennessee, whose only loss is to the number 1 ranked team in the nation.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got that schedule right there. I mean, it'd be hard to keep Tennessee out.
And you already have the pre-existing resume. You beat a ranked LSU team. Though they're not that Tiger team wasn't the same as they are now, but it's ranked nonetheless. Beat a ranked Kentucky team. I thought that was a trap. I said that was a trap game last week, but I knew they was going to win, but they dominated. So, of course, the win against Bama early on. So they have the resume, strong resume. I feel like it's going to help bode well for them, like I said. And you go ahead.
This is my problem with the rankings, man. I'm going to put it out there right now. Just like I said when we were talking offline about Texas sliding into the rankings. With Texas sliding into the rankings, Alabama now has a win against the ranked Texas team. And if Texas wins, let's say they win out except for TCU, they go, 9-3.
Right.
Well, losing to an undefeated TCU team is not the horrible thing on the record. So it looks like Alabama being another ranked team. But all these SEC teams, when the season started, it's like, oh, well, they've got 6, preseason top 25 teams. Well, that's great, but it's going to make you look like the hardest conference when you got the most ranked teams. And then every other week you're playing a team that should be ranked, and then you beat them. And then it's like, oh, well, they beat the number. Like right now, Bama's playing number 10, LSU at 6-2.
Right.
Should LSU be number 10, or are they only number 10 because they're LSU? If it was Oregon at 6-2, or Texas at 6-2, or if Oklahoma or Texas was undefeated right now, there wouldn't be a question about the Big 12. It's just the fact that it's TCU. It's the Tennessee of the Big 12. They don't expect them to run it, so everybody's hesitant about them. But if it was your big-name marquee schools, like you see every year, I feel like they get that unfair preferential treatment. So Alabama being 7-1 with 3 close wins that could have been losses. Are they really 7-1 and deserving a number 6, or are they just up there because they're SEC and Bama? That's what bothers me about the rankings is like, I just don't feel like it's set there.
And that's what's been talked about this week, really. Just like one thing I realized about the early college football rankings is it's about the ratings, about the money. Because like my Tigers took a steep jump. I was like, that's pretty steep to go to number 10. I was like, I mean, they dominated against Ole Miss surprisingly, but that's still a steep jump. But it's about the ratings. It's about the storyline, especially early on in the rankings. And like it's going to be more realistic as we get closer. And but like you're absolutely right. Just a lot of it's brand power. Now, to their credit, I mean they play strong every year. The conference is strong every year the last 15 years. But it's brand power. That's all it is. It's going to shake itself up.
I remember 10 years ago. It was November of 2011. I was in Germany visiting a friend, and I watched Alabama and LSU play a game. It was like 3:00 in the morning German time. It was 6-9. It was a field goal fest, one of the best college games I ever watched.
Right.
And when it came time for the bowl game, for the championship game, it was LSU and Alabama. And at that time, I was like, that doesn't make no sense. These two teams duked it out. LSU held their own. Yeah. Now, Alabama ended up stomping them in the national championship game. Right. But that's when I really got to thinking about it. Like, that's when I really started realizing, like, man, it's the pedigree of the name. Now, Alabama's been good for 10 years. Don't get me wrong. They're a good team. But are they really that great every year, deserving of high-ranking spots or whatever? I don't want to see three SEC teams in there, 2 at most, because there's nobody else. If the tables stay the way they are, Big 12 undefeated champ, Big 10 undefeated champ, SEC, possibly undefeated champ, and then if you got 11-1 Tennessee, I could roll with 2 SEC teams in there. But if Clemson gets blown out like they're going to, there's no way ACC's representing anything in the CFP this year.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, just like I said, I know Fox Network doesn't like the SEC too much. I've seen like Joel Klatt and those guys. They don't care too much about the SEC in the past. I mean, I know it's like there's a lot of fatigue from the conference. So, but it's like we said about brand power, and this plays a lot of roles early on. But yeah, this it's going to be exciting to see where these rankings shake up. But I want to talk about your Texas teams, brother. That's what I really want to talk to you about. I know, like, you're passionate about your squad, so let me pull it up for you right now. Go ahead.
But before we get into my Texas squad, we'll go basketball for you. I got a player comparison for you. Player A, player B.
Go ahead.
All right?
All right. Talking about that, yeah.
So we're looking at the first 245 games. Sweet. I didn't make the comparison. I saw on TikTok. All right. So over the first 245 games, player A won 134, scoring 26 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 8 assists, 121 double-doubles. Mm-hmm. Player 2, over that same time frame, 126 wins, so about 8 less wins, 26.5 points, about a half point better, 6.5 rebounds, so 2 rebounds less a game, 6.6 assists a game, about assist and a half less a game, and 61 double-doubles in the game. Which player would you take? Just looking at that blind stat, A and B.
What was the double-double count for the player 1, player A?
121.
Oh, wow.
So basically every other game he played a game in his first 245, he got a double-double. And player 2 was about every 4 games.
I'm going to probably go with player A. That's a very impressive streak. Yeah.
That is pretty impressive. Well, player A would be Luka legend. Luka Doncic. My man from Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Player B would be some people's GOAT, LeBron James.
Yeah.
So when people make that statement that Luka's gonna be the GOAT one
like
day,
those blind resumes tricky. Yeah.
They trick you, but when I saw that, man, I was like, there's no way he's got more rebounds than LeBron. But
that's impressive.
I mean, Luka's the Dirk of our generation, and then obviously he's the LeBron of the Mavericks. He's the go-to guy. Without him, we'd be winning 20 games a year. Luka's the only reason we made it to the Western Conference Finals last year.
Yeah, and like the guy is sensational. He's averaging in the team's first 8 games. He's averaging 36, 9, and 9. 36, 9, and 9.
He's got the most consecutive 30-point game streaks to start the season outside of Will Chamberlain. When it comes to scoring, it's not much you're going to break records with Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain did it like 33 times in a row back in the 70s. But outside of Will Chamberlain, Lucas sits there by himself with the most consecutive games to start the season. He's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, earlier this week or last week, I think, he became just the 10th player in NBA history to record at least 3 40-point triple-doubles. He's now tied with Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Pete Maravich, and Elgin Baylor, who all did it to do exactly 3 times over their career. The sky's the limit for what he could accomplish. Now, where do you rank him as a player right now? Because he was ranked number 3 in the ESPN rankings. And, he's finished 4th, 6th, and 5th in the last 3 years in MVP voting. So where do you have him right now? No, I know the rankings, people rank all the time, they get tiresome, but
I mean, he's got to be top 5. No questions asked. I mean, he's sitting top 5. I mean, looking at the way things go, I see people say KD's the best player on the planet, but the Brooklyn Nets are like 2-6 or something. They're starting off ridiculous. But I mean, I feel like Luka's doing exactly what Dirk did when he was the Maverick and what LeBron did when he was the Cavalier. He's got a little bit of help, no real names, firepower. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a second superstar on the side, and he's only 23, 24.
Yeah.
I mean, he's top 5 all day. But at the same time, any given Sunday, Giannis, Steph's, the greatest arguably shooter we've ever seen, and that's not even a question.
Greatest shooter that God ever created.
When it comes to all around, though, I mean, Steph's not carrying the Golden State Warriors to the Western Conference Finals without Draymond and Clay. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, to me, I don't know, man.
And the thing is,
at lowest.
Yeah, and the thing is, because they lost Jalen Brunson in the offseason because he had a career year in 4 categories: points, steals, rebounds.
And he went to the Knicks.
Yeah, went to the Knicks and big deal. So just for him to still have that higher production is unbelievable. Now, of course, Christian Wood is a huge addition. Averaged 18 points a game in the last 3 seasons. So, but he's going to need some more help, especially in that conference, man. Conference has been a gauntlet for them.
We need I mean, I feel like he needs a team like Dirk had in 2010, 2011 when the Mavericks, beat the Heat in the finals. You need a team of basically at that point all role players. I mean, we had J Kidd, but he was 36, 37. He wasn't the flashy young kid. We had Vince Carter. We had we had Cutler. We had Tyson Chandler at center. We didn't have anybody in their actual prime.
JJ Barea.
The team, the 5'7" point guard from Puerto Rico locking up LeBron.
Look.
I think if you gave Luka the same type setup, man, he's gonna run it.
Yeah. And like speaking of like the game, like that team, where were you on June 12th, 2011? Where were you on that day?
I was in Newport News, Virginia, sitting in my studio.
Oh.
I had a studio apartment. Me and the wife had a studio, but yeah.
Wow. Because I thought that's a monumental day for the Mavericks, of course, upsetting the Heatles. But I was on. It's funny because I was on a cruise vacation. It was our second day on the ship, and it was on the big screen. We was watching. Everybody was watching on the big screen. Every time the Mavericks hit a three, because I had some friends from Texas, and like they was hype. But they was hype. They were a Mavericks fan, but like they from Texas. That's by default they wanted to support. So like they was all hyped up. I was happy because I hated LeBron back then. But the Lord delivered me from that foolishness. But that wasn't the case.
LeBron.
What happened?
I still hate LeBron. Look, there's no doubt LeBron James is maybe arguably the greatest specimen to ever step foot on a basketball court. That's not a debatable question.
Mm-hmm.
But the way his career has played out over 20 years, I give him longevity. Great. He's, 38, 39 now, still putting up 25 a game. But the Lakers ain't going nowhere this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know that wherever LeBron James Jr. gets drafted, James is going there. I mean, he should. By all means, he's done everything he should. But I don't know, man. Sour taste in my mouth hopping from the Cavs to the Heat to the Cavs to the Lakers.
Now I will say this though, like when it happened because like I remember watching it in 2010, like the decision, and it was when my uncle he had called me. He said, "What you thinking?" He said, "Where you think where LeBron gonna go?" I said, "I wanted him to go to New York at the time because I just wanted the Knicks to have a good thing going. Not that I'm a fan, but just like exactly, there's a long shot." So then he made the choice. People burning the jerseys and stuff like that. And like I hated it, because I hated it. I was hating because I didn't like him at the time. But he played for a god awful owner. Like Dan Gilbert is one of like the 5 worst owners in the history of sports. Like you challenge your best player in the history of the franchise's manhood for leaving when you didn't put a team around him consistently. Now I will say this though, like people don't give this team credit, but the 2007 Cavs, like they were excellent defensively, led by Mike Brown. Like their strength was defense, and like the slow pace of the game tailored to their strengths. They just didn't have enough offensively. But I think I give that team a little more credit, even though they weren't special by any means, of course. Their largest loss in that series was 11 points. And they lost to 2 games in Cleveland by a combined total of 4 points. A lot of people act like they were just blown out every game, which is not true. But
I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to bash LeBron. LeBron's had a hell of a career. I grew up, I was born in 84, so my first taste of remembering anything was the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember being at my friend's house in the mid-90s, like swimming at his house, and they had a pool and they had a TV on outside, and it was the Bulls playing the Jazz in the finals and all that. And it's like, I remember watching that. So I grew up, in the twilight, years of Jordan's career when he was the man.
Mm-hmm.
So, when LeBron came in, it was like, I feel like everything he did was, it seemed like he got compared to Jordan off the rip. You're wearing number 23, Jordan won number 23.
Yeah.
He started Space Jams 2, Jordan started Space. Like, I feel like he's just a copycat of Jordan, man. Like, I don't know what it would. I think him staying in Cleveland. If he would have stayed in Cleveland, now granted he doesn't get to make the decisions of who they got, but he would have stayed in Cleveland and won that first championship, and then left, then went to Miami, then went to New York or went somewhere else. I think he would be viewed in a totally different light. But I think the fact that he left, teamed up with D Wade, who'd already won one, teamed up with Chris Bosh. Everybody talks about them being out of their prime, but they were all drafted together in 2003. So they were all under 29 when they played together in the Heat. So it's not like they were 37, 38-year-olds playing with, a 23-year-old LeBron.
But people forget, Chris Bosh, before he came to Miami, he was averaging 22 and 10. The year before that was 24 and 11. The guy was a beast, a paint beast.
Now, obviously, he was the superstar of Toronto, so he was the go-to guy, i.e., Dwayne Wade in Miami and LeBron in Cleveland. So his role changed when he went to Miami. He played more of a supportive cast role, which you're not going to have three guys, averaging 22 and 10. So people have to suffer, which he did. He was more of the third wheel, and they did good things. 4 championships in 4 years. They won 2 of them. I'm not knocking them, but he'll never be Jordan.
Yeah, and number two. Yeah, I have him second all time personally, but just at this point behind Jordan, second all time. But yeah, just the thing is like, I think ideally it could have been like if he would have stayed in Cleveland the first time. But listen, like that owner, Dan Gilbert doesn't deserve anything from Cleveland. He's garbage, hot garbage.
Oh, but I was looking at something the other day, man. Yeah. I don't know the numbers, I didn't write them down, but it was comparing stats between like D Wade and Kobe. Like just kind of give you the blind stats of LeBron and Luka, but it was like overall career numbers, and their numbers aren't really that different.
Oh yeah.
So then the question begs, like, why is it that you got guys that rank Kobe top 10, but D Wade not even sniffing, top 20 to some people? They both went to 5 finals. Now, like Kobe won 5, but like outside of the championships and the league MVP, it's like. Basically, numbers look exactly the same. What makes them that much different? Like, Kobe's something different, but.
The thing is, what to consider is like they were elite offensively, but Kobe was a more gifted perimeter scorer. Really, I think he's the most skilled player, like the skilled scorer ever. Difficult angles. Kobe's inefficiency hurt him in the eyes of a lot of people, but like there's no advanced analytic metric that says like. He made this many tough shots, off balance shots. Like, but just like he was more skilled perimeter wise at the perimeter scoring, more decorated as a defensive player. Kobe has 12 all defensive team selections, not at the first team level. Doesn't have a depoy, but I mean he was still elite on the perimeter. And and of course, like you said, with the rings and the Finals MVP and the regular season MVP, that makes the difference. I have D Wade third. All time with the shooting guards.
But, MJ, Kobe, D Wade, sure. I mean, that's perfectly. I'm with that 100%. But like, I guess the more I paid attention on TikTok and I got a lot of sports talking, you start to see comparisons. It's like you start to look at things and you're like, man, maybe was I just like blinded by the stardom back in the day, or was like Kobe really head and shoulders above the Wade? But I'm with you. We almost had him as a Maverick. We were like this close, man.
And not to mention injuries crept up in D Wade's career throughout his career. Doesn't help your case either. But yeah. And then you got to look at who other people, how they performed at their positions plays a role. But there's some factors that go into it.
We back in like 07, 08, right after I think not too long after Shaq left and Lakers weren't doing good. Mark Cuban had, I guess, had a trade in place to get Kobe, and he like texted Dirk like, "Yo, I got a trade. I got a chance to get Kobe." And Dirk was like, "Yo, trade me if you got to trade me to get Kobe. I don't make that trade." And Mark's like, "No, man, I don't have to trade you." He's like, "I'm gonna get Kobe to pair with you." If you'd have paired Kobe with Dirk, my God.
Oh my goodness.
Dirk never which I don't know if Dirk ever really had that solid superstar as a teammate. He had great role players, J. Kidd, Correa, and all them guys, but he just never had that second superstar. And I thought Porzingis was going to be that for.
I did too. I did. I did. And speaking of Dirk, that 2011 playoff run was unbelievable. You beat the Blazers, the upstart Blazers, in 6 games in the first round. You sweep my 2-time defending world champion Lakers, who represented the Western Conference 3 years in a row. You beat the Thunder, who
about the Lakers.
That was ugly. That was so ugly, especially in Dallas. And just they beat the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, who made it to the finals the next season, and of course the upset of the Heatles. So Dirk played 21 games in that run. He had 20 plus out of the 21 playoff games that year. He had 20 plus points in 19 of them. And 6 of those games he had 30 plus. That I think his final performance. His finals run is like unlike anything I've seen from an individual. It's tough. It's tough to this when you consider his age, when you consider his the opponents he went through, being the underdog, significant underdogs. Just it's tough to duplicate that.
You know, we talk about the Mavericks being underdogs. Did you think about 4 years earlier we played the Heat?
Yes.
In the championship 2007.
Oh, I wanted the Mavs to win so bad. I was sick of D Wade, bro.
They played Shaq and D Wade and the Heat. And then I came home from Iraq on R&R, and I went to the bar every night and watched the Mavericks play. We were playing the number 8 ranked Golden State Warriors, and I think we got swept. It was like the first time in NBA, playoffs history that the number 1 got swept by the number 8. We got just mollywopped, and it was like, oh damn, sorry.
Right.
But they took us, man.
Yeah, and then the thing is, like, because in the 06 finals, Dallas was handling them like the first 2.5 games. Like they have, because the Heat were down like 12 halfway through the third quarter in Game 3. I was like, they really dominated the series, but they made the adjustments necessary, which Hall of Fame coaches do, and Hall of Fame players help. And like D Wade's 06 finals performance is, in my opinion, second only to LeBron in my lifetime. As long as I've been watching LeBron in 2016, just considering the opponent, considering the individual performance, the moment, the circumstance, yes, like those were just phenomenal. Coming back deficit wise, both of them.
Oh yeah, like I said, man, it's been a wild ride, brother.
Man, listen. But speaking of keeping in Dallas, I want to talk about the Cowboys. Look, how about the I said so. Apparently,
just on a note, y'all.
Go ahead.
Oh, y'all down 21-17, man. Bama just scored, brother.
Got you.
But we 6-2. We we went 5-1 under the Cooper Rush.
Yeah, so apparently, so apparently, he's not the future anymore.
So it's the craziest thing, man. It's like you gotta ask yourself: is it the play calling or is it the quarterback? Okay. Tom Brady, 1 year Tom Brady got hurt in New England. He tore his ACL or something stupid, I think 2011, 2012. Matt Castle went like 11-5 as a backup. Right. But, I mean, next year when the season started, you weren't putting Matt Castle in over Tom Brady. Right. So this year it's like Cooper Rush went on a 5-4-0 run, but he didn't really beat nobody. And then we got to play the Eagles.
And then like
his first real test.
Yes. And like you have they have no film on them. So it's like people's like, oh, cool, you got to keep cool. I was like, calm down, people.
Okay, let me ask you this. Tony Pollard last weekend went ham with no Zeke, but he can't block. He cannot block. Dak is going to die if we leave Tony Pollard's argument. I love Tony Pollard. Dude had 3 rushing touchdowns. First time we've had it done as a Cowboy in 2 years. Last one was Dak. Zeke's never done it. But I hear people calling for Zeke's head, but it's like, we got to keep them together. RB1, RB2. Run them together, off and on, back and forth. I don't think Pollard has the full-on tools to be a number 1 running back. I think he's great at what he does, but he's small. So when that linebacker comes blitzing, Pollard's not going to be able to take that hit. Zeke will, but too many missed blitzes, and Dak's going to break another finger or another ankle.
And the thing is, that's why it's been so hard for me with this situation, because I've been wanting to ask you about Zeke for a while, because my thing is, like, when you evaluate players, especially from an all-time situation, I come down to the production. A lot of people they're so quick to talk about versatility, which is admirable, but like Zeke's been productive when healthy, for the most part. And just like, but like you say, he can't block in this, and it's very important. Like Tony Pollard can't block. Like I still love Zeke, but when you paying that money, it's tough, especially on that franchise.
Everybody looked at Zeke like he gave up once he got that fat check, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I really don't.
I don't think it's that simple either.
Yeah, but it is lazy for people to say that. But man, like what do you think the future is for that pair, Dak and Zeke? I know they're on the contract technically, but I mean I don't know.
Zeke will be gone. Zeke will be gone. He'll be gone this year. He'll be gone at the end of the year.
I agree with
that. All you gotta do is you keep Pollard on a low, I don't even know what he can do for a contract restriction, but $5-10 million a year. You draft your rookie running back, third or fourth round that can block, and then you pair up Pollard with that, or Pollard, whoever was buying this last week. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who it was, but I think Zeke's gone. I think Pollard and a new running back are going to be the 1-2 hit combo back there. I still think we got work to do. I think we're good at 6-2, but we're not the Eagles at 8-0.
Right.
I don't think the Eagles are going to run the table. I hear people saying, "Oh, they're going to run the tables." Either New York or us will somebody will.
They don't seem like I know I may be disrespectful. They don't seem like an 8-0 team, a typical 8-0 team. I mean, they've been playing really well.
Yeah.
But kudos to them though. But I want to talk about real quick about your defense. First and foremost, Micah Parsons. You may have heard of this guy. 8 games, 8 sacks, on pace for a career high 17 sacks. He had 13 as a rookie. He's on pace right now for 17. Like, where does he stand with defenders in the league? The guy is unblockable. I've seen him several times this year. He is unblockable.
You know what's crazy is if, like, I feel like if you took that dude out of the uniform and you stood him next to the other elite defenders, the Myles Garretts, the Watts, the Bosa's, like, I feel like he looked like a midget. He looked small.
Hey,
like, I don't know if it's the uniform, but, like, he looked small to everybody on the Cowboys defensive line. Gregory and all the guys, and Lawrence. But the man is something else, dude. I don't know what he does before the game, but he's coming hot. And, I mean, I don't know if you can take away Aaron Donald's status as the best defensive player. I mean, I know this year may not be the same as always, but I think he's earned a little bit of leeway. I don't want to give him too much because then we'll be 5 years down the road talking about he used to be great. But,
yeah,
I mean, I think Michael Parsons is top 5.
Yeah, because like
top 5 edge rushers. Myles
Garrett, Miles, Donald, Watt, just Bosa, Warner. It's tight. It's tight.
I think outside of Myles Garrett, as far as the ends go,
I
don't think there's anybody you could argue with because Donald's a tackle, and then Watt's hurt right now, and Parsons is probably the second best DN, maybe the best depending on who you ask, but he doesn't look very big.
Yeah.
He's small. He looks small, man.
Like I said before, bottom line is production. Like Drew Brees was small, all-time passing leader, all the records. Just like you got to play big.
Well, he had all the records, so Tom Brady decided to play another 20 years.
Hey, that is true. But Tom Brady, he's the GOAT for a reason.
That gets me too, man. Is like you think about that, like. Tom Brady obviously had the last 20 years. It's been Tom Brady's league. I don't care who you are. People talk about, Aaron Rodgers being one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but it's like they're like 2-6 this year, 3-5. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing very well. He ain't got no receivers, and it's showing. But it begs the question: like, did Brady make everybody around him better, or was everybody in New England just a product of great coaching by Belichick?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could argue that Peyton Manning's a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
Many people do. Many people do.
But at the end of the day, Brady's the GOAT because 7 rings, 10 trips.
And there's multiple things can be true simultaneously. I think he is the GOAT, but he's the greatest player in the history of the league, in my opinion. But like your job was made easier. Like it helps to have Bill Belichick as a coach because people need to remember, like in the first 6 years of his career, he was really good, but that defense was menacing. Because you have Richard Seymour, Ty Law, Teddy Bruschi, what's Richard Seymour? I said Willie McGinnis. That's it. They've had unbelievable great defense help. Now in the mid to late 2000s, that's when he took over the reins statistically. But I mean, like I said, 2 things could be true at once.
Tom Brady had a year, man. I was thinking this earlier. He had a year where Gronk had over 1,000 yards receiving at tight end. And Aaron Hernandez had like 980 yards at the tight end receiving. You don't get 2 tight ends with 1,000 yards. You're lucky to get a tight end with 1,000
running the game life simultaneously, but I digress.
Let me ask you a question. Are we as fans too biased to recency? Because I hear people talking about Gronk is the greatest tight end of all time, and I just don't see it. Like
I'm so glad you. Whew, man, you listen. The first question you asked me about, recency bias is a powerful drug. One of my biggest pet peeves in the sports world for years was just like the premature anointing, which perfectly leads to my. Now I will say this: in September 2017, like the season had just started. I used to write for this website, Last Word on Sports, Last Word on Pro Football. The article was Rob Gronkowski is the most overrated tight end in league history, and like my paper was saying, like, first of all, like, I don't hate Rob Gronkowski before people jump on me. Like, I think he's the greatest talent the position's ever seen, in my opinion. But at that time, I was like, listen, did we forget who Tony Gonzalez was? Tony Gonzalez has over 100 touchdowns, 14,000 yards as a tight end. Jason, as a tight end. Jason Witten has had like 10, 12 Pro Bowl selections, second most all time for the position.
Witten
he is so he is so disrespected. I think I give Gronk more so the edge now because he has the first team All Pro selections, but for that slight edge. But people forgot how dominant Jason Witten was, and he played a tough era with Gates and Gonzalez.
See, that's the way I look at it. Like, Gronk is probably like the greatest specimen to ever play the tight end.
Oh yeah, the greatest talent. Oh yeah, for sure.
But he's not the GOAT.
I don't think he's the GOAT.
Just like in basketball, I think LeBron James is the greatest specimen to ever step foot on the hardwood, but he's not the GOAT.
Right.
Let me ask you a question: is there any sport in your mind that there is an absolute GOAT that's undisputed? I've got one, and I don't think you could argue it. But any sport where somebody can say, "Oh, he's the GOAT" or "She's the GOAT," then there's nobody that could argue it.
I would say Wayne Gretzky.
I was going Wayne Gretzky, man. That dude.
I say this all. Listen, if he played a more popular American sport, this wouldn't even be a discussion. Like, the guy's jersey retired league wide.
You could take away all the goals that man scored, and he still has the most points in NHL history.
Exactly. Listen, if you take his hockey resume and put it like in football or basketball, we wouldn't be talking about it. The guy's jersey is retired league wide. Michael Jordan's jersey not retired league wide.
It comes down to this for me: Gretzky, hockey, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I think Usain Bolt in the Summer Olympics, the track and field, no questions asked. I think Michael Phelps in swimming, no questions asked. And I'm going to say Serena Williams in tennis.
Yep.
No questions asked. But I don't know any other sports. Like, there might be some gymnastics stuff. I'm not trying to throw it off that I don't know about. But, like, when you really break it down to it, those four right there, you consider the GOATs. Like, golf. Is it Jack? Is it Tiger?
Yeah.
You know, exactly. had Tiger never had the incidents
and like his 10-year plus layoff, like because he was on that pace when go ahead.
Oh yeah, you're right. He was on that pace. He was going to break everything. He was going to smash the records.
Right.
He was going to be the GOAT. But Tiger became Tiger. Golf clubs up to the side of the car, flipping the cars, and he's not Tiger anymore, man.
Because like
he's still Tiger. Don't get me wrong.
I was a freshman in high school when it was the summer. I was doing like a work study for my school, entering high school. It was the U.S. Open versus Rocco Media that had to play that 19-hole playoff. He was down
there. He had torn ACL.
Yes. God, he was right there. He had, I think that was his 14th major win. I was like, he was 4 away. I thought it was just a foregone conclusion, but he had the incident, image derailed, layoff, injuries. I don't know if he'll get it though.
I think if Tiger would never got hurt, it was his title to lose as the GOAT status of that. You know, because every other sport, boxing, UFC, anywhere down the line, you know, you could make arguments for almost anybody. But I think those 4 or 5 people right there is the GOATs of GOATs. And I think if you had to name an all-time GOAT, Gretzky to me is. I think he did a more popular sport. Yeah,
it wouldn't. It's laughable that he's the most underappreciated GOAT in the sports. Because the thing about Serena, like she and like many people, like you said, would say Serena, but man, like Gretzky is just if he played a more popular American sport, it would have been not even close. Not even close. Man, oh man, just
it's crazy. Y'all up 3 with the $1.20 to go, bro.
I saw, I keep getting the alerts on the phone as well. So, they got, there's 59 seconds according to the website. They got the ball at the 43. Yeah. But we'll see, though.
If they kick a field goal, this goes into overtime, man. They have late finish this game.
I know. It's it's crazy, man. It's just because they've had so many close calls, especially in Baton Rouge in the last decade. So just, it's a silent finish. Death Valley is different, but that Saturday night is different.
Let me ask you a question, man. What makes the college football experience so much different than the pro? Because you look at college stadiums, and I don't know how many, but there's a handful that hold 100,000 people.
Yeah. That
can hold 100,000 fans. Every Saturday night, they packing it. They're, white out, black out, orange outs. Mm-hmm. They're playing, Enter Sandman up in Virginia Tech, Blackburn, and But you get to the pro stadiums, it's like Los Angeles Chargers can't even put 30,000 seat soccer stadium. Man.
And that's historically not even a basketball. I mean, they've had the Rams, and of course, don't get me wrong, the Raiders, but it's like that's a basketball town in my opinion. But just, I think that's a great question. I think a lot of it has to do with obviously like the capacity discrepancy, because a lot of your unless it's like one of the newer stadiums like Jerry World or like SoFi or Allegiant Stadium, like a lot of your NFL stadiums like 60-ish thousand, maybe 70-ish with renovations. But like you said, the major college teams like Big House, Tiger Stadium, Bryant Denny, like 100+ thousand, the Swamp, Jordan Hare, Sanford, just to name a few, just 100+. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that even though many people can relate to playing in the National Football League, many people can relate to playing in college football, but they went to that school. It plays it like, because I didn't play sports, like I didn't play football for LSU, but I went to the school, so it's like an emotional attachment. You walked through those halls. Many people just talk about and it's a younger fan base. Like a lot of people are still in college with the student section, with the drum, with the bands and stuff like that. Just it's a more livelier in comparison. The football may not be great in comparison to NFL, but just the overall ambiance, I think it's a step up more times than not.
That makes sense. Yeah. Man, I don't think I've ever been to a college game. I had a few chances to go to Texas OU when I was in high school, because I lived right outside of Cotton Bowl, 30 minutes from the Cotton Bowl, but I never made it over there. But I'd love to go see a TCU game, man. I've been a fan for 20 years. My roommate, when I was in the military, he liked to play NCAA football, and he always played with West Virginia.
Smart man.
So when I started playing with him, I was like, I'm not going to be UT, because I'm from Texas, so growing up, UT or A&M was the ones in my household. But I was like, I'll play with a smaller team, because West Virginia was always, C+, B+ teams. And I was like, I'll play with TCU. Yeah. And that was right around the time TCU had LaDainian Tomlinson. Oh. So it's been 20 years going strong, and I've seen some good seasons, man. So I'd love to go to M&G Carter Stadium, Fort Worth. All the street signs are painted purple and white. Yeah, it's a good environment up there, man.
Gary Patterson, he had it very steady through, like, when I was coming. Like, kept it really steady.
Well, I mean, he took them to the Rose Bowl when they were in the Mountain West, and we beat Wisconsin like 21-19.
Yeah,
nobody saw that. And that's what gets me, man, about when they talk about these teams now. It's like, oh, well, TCU is the Big 12. Well, yeah, but almost every year you have some team in a playoff game or in a bowl game beating, UFC beat Auburn like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You get these teams, losing in the Sugar Bowl to Utah or Boise State, and it's like, is it time to lay off of the old TCU's Big 12 and give them a chance? I mean, they might surprise you, man.
But yeah, and it's like it is tricky because it goes back to the brand thing. Just like, people have to get used to you.
Yeah.
Because like LSU, even we had one they just tied it 21 seconds. Yep. Just got We're gonna see, but just like people got to get accustomed to you. Because like, even though my Tigers, we won a national championship in the late 50s, we didn't win again until 2003. So they wouldn't, like, we was a baseball school. We won 5 national championships in the 90s, and basketball was really good with Shaq. And of course we had Pistol Pete and Bob Pettit. They weren't even a football school for like 40 years. But like, people got to get used to you. So you got to build up. That's why I always tell people, recruiting is paramount in college, but it's about the coach. You got to get the coach to set the culture, the standard from top to bottom. It's about the coach. The coaches are the stars in college. You got to get the coach in. Because when talent meets talent, you have to get the coaching down. And it's like with like watching LSU the last 8 years, for the most part, just talent is no question. Louisiana is one of the best, one of the hottest recruiting beds in the country. You don't have the coaching. Les Miles and Ed Orgeron, they were masterful recruiters, charismatic leaders. They didn't evolve. They chose not to.
I mean, they took y'all to one championship, with Joey B.
Yeah, like, look, lightning in a bottle.
That dude was something else, man. That dude, Joe. But yeah, he had Jamar Chase and then Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder, man. It's like
Terrace Marshall, yeah.
Now that you got Chase and Burrow on the same team, like you think they're campaigning every week for their coach to figure out a way to sign Justin Jefferson? Like
I would listen. Everybody look, they all on rookie contracts, so why not?
I mean, well, Jay Jett is gonna get paid first. I think he's first one out, and then Burrows, and then Chase, man. So speaking of college football, man, Reggie Bush.
So talk to me about this. Talk to me about Reggie.
All right, man. I've been getting TikTok bashed because of my Reggie Bush opinion. So we all know, those of you who don't know, Reggie Bush won the Heisman in 2005, the year the UFC went to the championship game and lost to UT. Vince Young, 400-something yards by himself. They won like 45-42. But now that the NIL is allowed, name, image, likeness deal, is allowed, a lot of people think Reggie Bush should be allowed a Heisman back.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, the way, I know it sucks, but the way the rules were set, in 2005, when his Heisman got stripped, was you can't do A, B, C, D, and E. You can't take money for this. He took money for it, and he lost his Heisman. And I'm like, I don't think he should get his Heisman back. And then people are like, oh, well, you're just bashing him because, this, and that. No, look, Reggie Bush was a great player. He had 2,200 yards, between receivers.
He's like the greatest college player I've ever seen, personally.
I would say he's probably one of the most greatest college players. Drive me nuts, man. They go greatest college player ever, and they get
the guy. What he did at US, like just the long strides. I was so enamored with that in early. Yeah, sorry about that, but I had a message.
You good, man?
End
of the game now, man.
I was so enamored because he was such a dominant force. Now when you look at the cumulative statistical resume, it's not going to wow you outside of one season. But like the way his versatility was, like granted he had Matt Leinart, Dwayne Jarrett, like they had Pete Carroll had it rocking, but just
Lindell White.
Oh, speaking of Lindell White, he was paid $150,000 regularly at USC.
Makes sense.
Hey, listen. I mean, it's all a money grab. That's always has been.
Okay. So with what you know right there, and who he had right there, this is the argument I've had, and this is where everybody gets me at. I've said it time and time again that if Reggie Bush didn't take the money and didn't go to USC, does Reggie Bush win the Heisman? Because he's not teaming up with Lindell White. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have Jarrett. He doesn't have Mike Leinart. If he goes to any other college besides UT, if he goes to a normal college, let's say his choice is UCLA or Oklahoma or one of the other ones, he's still Reggie Bush, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But he's not playing with the same team. Does he still win the Heisman? Well, that's where everybody's bashing me.
One thing I always tell about one thing I always say about MVP awards in major sports is like it goes to the best player on the best team or one of the top two teams, regardless of statistics. Sure. But just MVP is really a team award, a lot contrary to popular belief, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Just that's a compelling argument. Like it depends on how UCLA performed, regardless of the stature.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say is like if Reggie Bush didn't play for that team, does he win the Heisman? Like, oh, you're just hating Reggie Bush. I'm not hating. I never said he was bad.
Oh yeah, of course.
Great. Just like Vince Young. Vince Young was an electric college football player, one of the best. And then he gets to the pros and he just kind of falls off.
Yeah.
And I don't get how the Heisman Trophy works because you'll sit there and you'll say, hey. The Offensive Player of the Year award goes to, Joe Burrow at LSU. And then it's like, but the Heisman Trophy winner goes to, Vince Young out of Texas. It's like, well, wait a second. How is Joe Burrow the greatest offensive player in the college football season, but you're giving the Heisman to another offensive football player? I don't grasp that, man. Maybe I'm just, maybe I don't follow enough, but I don't understand how you can tell one guy's the greatest offensive player this year, but he's not the Heisman.
And, like, I've been asking that for years. But it's like the thing is it's like when Tyrann Mathieu was up for the Heisman in 2011, I already knew going in he wasn't going to win it, and he was going to come in. He was a finalist, but I knew he was going to come in 5th out of 5. But the thing, because it's like out of the 80, 70, 80 Heisman Trophy winners all time, only one defensive player has won, and that's Charles Woodson.
Man, the legend, man, Charles Woodson.
Yeah, and the thing is, what makes it frustrating sometimes. It's like think about all the defense players that won the Heisman, especially with him and Charles Woodson, they were great on special teams as well. It's like they had to do extra. And it's like, that's not even a fair, like, if you're going to give it to a quarterback every year, make it just a quarterback award, right? Is it, it's
99% of the time it goes to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And then the occasional seasons.
And not to mention the fact that Tim Tebow was the first sophomore in 2007, after like 60, 70 Heisman Trophy winners, he was the first sophomore to win it. So it doesn't go, because Tyrann Mathieu was a sophomore.
They had 2 losses that year? Yep. Then the year before they had 2 losses? That was the year that Tim Tebow gave that, like, see, this is another thing here.
And then you got to look at like the championship winning team probably didn't have like a clear Heisman favorite. Like I know my 07 Tigers, they had great veterans, but Demetrius Byrd, Brennan, like they weren't like Heisman forerunners. So that's to be fair to Tim Tebow. But
But I hear people saying Tebow's one of the greatest college quarterbacks ever, and it's like he was a gimmick player. He was good. He was good. He was great, but
he did good in the gimmick though.
But I mean, he could do those where he runs up and like he's gonna run and he does the jump.
The jump pass, yeah. Hit us with that.
Why can't Heisman winners succeed in the NFL, man?
Well, the thing,
they go and they suck.
There's 2 factors that determines a player's legacy, an athlete's legacy. It's health and situation. Yeah. Reggie Bush coming to New Orleans. Reggie Bush wasn't going to be like an all-pro ball carrier because our offensive didn't cater to like an every down back. That situation. He was healthy for the most part, but it was like same thing with Alvin Kamara. It's just not going to happen. Like when we signed, it's funny because when we signed Adrian Peterson in 2017, I was like, this is an awful move. I hate the move. I love the player, but it's not going to be a good situation for him. And you saw it right away on national television. He was barking at Sean Payton. That's an awful move. Because even though he was 10 years into the league, like he's still healthy enough to be every down back. But that's not going to happen down here.
No, but AP was something else, man.
He was so violent. Violent on the field, brother.
I know they talk about records that ain't never going to be broken, and I don't know that Emmitt's is going to be broken.
Not at this stage, no.
Because you ain't got teams passing the ball like that. You know what I'm saying? Or running the ball like that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, and before we get to trivia, but I wanted to ask you about Emmitt. Where do you rank him? Because like I said, I know people get tired of rankings, but I just want your opinion. Yeah, but just
I don't think he was the better running back than Barry Sanders.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
I think he's top 5 all time. I think you have him outside of your top 5. It's ridiculous to say. He had one of arguably the greatest lines in NFL history, and I think. But
I will say this though. I do have Barry Sanders over him. I think Barry Sanders he had more higher production in his top seasons than Emmitt, even though Emmitt was a several-time rushing champion. But like I said, many people talk about the line, which is a tremendous aid, but you have to realize he won MVP before Larry Allen was drafted. And Larry Allen is one of the greatest guard, arguably the greatest guard in the history of the sport.
But that's something else too.
Did you hear those stories about from DeMarcus Ware about when he was a rookie, like with him weightlifting? That man's a cheat. Goodness gracious.
That man threw up 225, I think 45 times.
Yes, on both sides. He said like DeMarcus Ware asked him if you need a spike. He said, "Nah, Rook, I'm good."
Dude, Larry, man. Yeah, so Emmitt had a great line in that. We had the Wall. They were called the Wall,
Great Wall of Dallas, baby.
But it's not even just the Wall. I mean, you look at the Cowboys in the 90s, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And you had Aikman, and if it wasn't for the Super Bowls, Aikman wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. That's not even a question. He's got like 30,000 yards passing. Like Patrick Mahomes has already passed him in stats. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But you had Aikman, you had Daryl Johnson. That's back when they had fullbacks.
Yes.
So you had Daryl Bruce Johnson clearing the way. You had Novacek, you had Alvin Harper, you had Irvin. You had 84 options on offense. Yeah. So play action was going to work great in the 90s. So Emmitt was going to...
And the thing is, what people need to realize is, like, Dallas is, like, even the teams past the 90s, like, their best teams past, like, the 07 team. I think the 07 team is the greatest Cowboys team I've ever seen in my lifetime. I was, 2 years old when they won their last championship. So I didn't see them in their peak. Exactly. But just like, 2017, 13 Pro Bowlers, NFL record, like, that team had no weakness. including the playoffs, they lost 4 times. They lost 4 times. Yeah. Like one of those losses were to the 16-0 Patriots. Playoff loss. The other loss was to the Giants, who beat the 16-0 Patriots. That team, like the greatest Cowboys team I've ever seen, 2017.
We were pretty stacked, man. They were good, man. That was a rough year. That was,
yeah.
We've had a lot of good runs over the time. Dez catch, no catch in Green Bay.
Oh, that was god awful. Oh my god.
It was a catch though. It was a catch.
Oh yeah, of course. Like, and I bring that up because like even the teams past the 90s, Dallas is that now. This may be seen basic or obvious, but Dallas is absolutely at their best when running the football, regardless of the talent on the outside, regardless of their quarterback. Look at their best teams running the football. Dorsett, just Emmitt Smith past the Super Bowl. You had Marion the Barbarian, God rest his soul. You had even later Felix Jones, DeMarco Murray in 2014, yeah. Zeke early in his career. Like you got to run the ball. So they don't win those championships without Emmitt. Say what you want about people can say what they want about the offense. Oh, they got Dion for a couple of years. Listen, they did not win without Emmitt Smith. Period.
But the way I look at it too is, Emmitt was great, but I look at it like if you switched him and Barry Sanders,
mm-hmm.
just look their teams. I see no reason why Barry Sanders wouldn't be the rushing record holder right now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Not saying Emmitt wouldn't still be considered a great running back and he wouldn't have put up good numbers, but I think if you flip their teams, Barry Sanders is, easily the greatest running back of all time. No questions asked. He has yards. He has touchdowns.
Another thing is, he got all of that. He got the whole package. Yeah. And then the thing is, it's like, but another thing that frustrates is like people, they're so caught up with what they see in the eye. They love the flashiness, because that's why a lot of people they don't respect Jason Witten, because he wasn't flashy. Emmitt wasn't flashy. I feel like I think their NBA comps is John Stockton. John Stockton has like the resume, unquestioned all-time steals, assist leader. Wasn't flashy, and people don't respect him. If you see him on TikTok, like people say they trash him all the time. Well, they trash him.
John Stockton. They call him basic and just this and that. Dude, you don't just become the all-time assist leader and steals leader.
No,
without having some sort of skills. I don't care who. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but we gonna hold on. Look, listen. We're going to continue that on our next show. We're going to wrap it up with the trivia. Let me play my theme music. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. All right, so lay it on me. What's the first one?
First Yankee rookie to win the MLB Home Run Derby.
Yankee rookie. Wow.
To win the home run, was it Gleyber Torres? Was it Hideki Matsui? Was it Aaron Judge? Or was it A-Rod?
I'm gonna say Hideki.
Aaron Judge, good sir. Aaron Judge. I looked this up, man. I was going too, because I was like, man, that just seems like it's too obvious an answer, but Aaron Judge, I ain't got the numbers, but Aaron Judge was the first Yankee rookie to win home run derby, man.
Makes sense.
Number 2, who did the Yankees play in their first World Series? Was it the Senators, the Giants, the Pirates, or the Cardinals?
We'll say the Senators.
It was the Giants.
Okay.
Back when it was still New York, brother. New York.
Yes, sir.
And I'll give you last but not least, who was the all-time hits leader for the Yankees? Now, this is going to give you a list. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Derek Jeter, or Mickey Mantle?
Let's see. Probably Mickey.
Derek Jeter.
I was about to say it. Okay. All right.
Don't work. But let me say this, man, one thing on this, just so you know, for the Yankees, man. Yankees are notorious, I don't know if you know this, but they're notorious for handing their superstars single-digit numbers. They have the list of all the greats. The Yankees have retired every single-digit number from 1 to 9.
Greatest franchise in sports.
Jeter, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle. 1 through 9 is gone. Look at Aaron Judge. He's number 9. They went backwards. There's no single-digit number that you can wear as a Yankee. I think 0 might be available, but I don't know if they do in baseball. But 1 through 9 is all gone. They're all gone.
I mean, I've been blessed to see this a franchise even in '09 when they dominated the World Series. But that's the only most dominant team I've seen. Like I said, I really got into sports in the early 2000s, so I didn't really get to see them at their apex in the '90s with the core four. But hey, I love the franchise, but just I can't wait to see for more. But yeah. Well, my guy, I appreciate you coming on to this show.
Absolutely,
you
brother.
are one of the hardest souls of this brand, brother. But yeah.
Let me know when I can come back and do this again.
Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely keep in touch, brother. You guys have a blessed night. Appreciate you, brother. Congratulations again on the anniversary, brother.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good night.
Likewise.
No sweat, Sport Nation.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for episode 5. I'll take it easy.
Yes, sir. I'm out.
Let me see.